Hey everyone, welcome back. Alex here, and I just want to share with you a game I have been absolutely binging on for the last couple of days, particularly this last weekend, and it's none other than Star Wars The Old Republic. This is a game I always tend to come back to and occasionally, and when I do, again, it's just a huge binge. I just go in, I love the story, and I just go in full throttle. And then I always back out, and sometimes I'm not exactly sure why. Sometimes I view it as just strictly kind of a single player game, kind of a single story, and that's frankly all that it has to offer. And that's not necessarily true. I think that this game has really evolved quite a lot, especially over the last couple of years, and that's saying something for a video game. So, Star Wars The Old Republic. It's definitely kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum to EVE Online. EVE Online is 100% a pure sandbox MMO RPG, and that is a wonderful thing. But if you're looking for a really strong, cohesive storyline, you're not going to find it in EVE Online. You will definitely find it here, though, in Star Wars The Old Republic. Very strong story. And I'm kind of in the early stages of the game. Again, as you can see here, I have my primary character. This is the character I made just a few weeks after this game had launched. Again, named Caitlin, same as my primary character in Guild Wars. That's kind of the name I'm running with. If I can get into a game launch early enough, I can grab that name. So, Caitlin, exact same name from Guild Wars, and really kind of got into this game a couple weeks after launch, and then I just kind of went away from it. I don't exactly even remember why I did. I think a lot of it was, again, just the very linear type of game that it was, and I had gotten into other games. I think I went back to EVE Online, actually, I think was part of it. And also, I started just playing some other games like Supreme Commander and a lot of other RTS type of games. So I just kind of drifted away from the MMORPG genre at that time. Now, coming back, it's always great to come back and look at an older MMORPG, because an MMORPG is kind of a different animal than, say, a traditional video game. A traditional video game is simply that. It's launched, and aside from some DLC, maybe there's a few patches, but what is launched is really what you get. And as great or as good as it may be, what you get is that one final product until you get a full-blown sequel. With an MMORPG, however, it's a very different thing. It's always in continuous development. Again, this doesn't apply to every MMORPG. Some are shut down, some are on hiatus, some have been kind of wrapped up and closed, such as Guild Wars 1, although they've had a few improvements recently, which is always great to see, but it's not in active development. Star Wars The Old Republic is still in active development, along with other games that I play, such as Guild Wars 2, EVE Online, and you have to evaluate older MMORPGs differently than a traditional game, as I mentioned. The other thing is that most MMORPGs, when they're launched, suffer from the same issue. Namely, aside from, of course, the typical launch issues, is the lack of endgame content. And that was a big thing against Star Wars The Old Republic when it first came out, was there's no endgame content. There's no real progression once you finish the storyline. And that was very true back then. It's not true anymore, though. There is a ton of content, and if you play the game consistently and long enough, yes, you will exhaust the content eventually, but you would have definitely got your money's worth when you did. It's a incredible journey, and again, this doesn't just apply to Star Wars The Old Republic. This applies to Guild Wars. This applies to Guild Wars 2. This applies to a certain extent EVE Online, but again, that's a whole different mechanic. That is a sandbox style type of game rather than the theme park type style of game like you see with Star Wars The Old Republic or World of Warcraft and several others. So when you play an MMORPG and you finally get up to the end, there are tons of other MMORPGs out there that you can sink your teeth into. But is Star Wars The Old Republic worth sinking your teeth into? I think absolutely yes. If you look at the channel MMO Byte, they do a lot of reviews of MMORPGs, and it's kind of a genre that has fallen a little bit out of favor, but not entirely. There are still MMORPGs coming out, but the issue is that a lot of them are from Asia, but there's not a whole lot coming from America recently. However, there are some new ones that have been crowdfunded that are coming online. And again, I highly recommend going to the channel MMO Byte. They have a complete breakdown of everything. That's what they focus on. They're very good at it, and they have a good list of what's coming up in 2018 as far as new MMORPGs coming out. So, Star Wars The Old Republic. It's great playing through the storyline. It's a very, very solid storyline. But outside of that, though, what can you do? Well, there have been quite a few modes added. There's the Starfighter mode. There's kind of building out your house if you want to play Intergalactic Interior Designer, which is essentially the strongholds. There's being part of a guild, although I'm a guild of 1 right now because everyone in this guild is essentially all gone. And, you know, if I really get into it, will I go into another guild? Yeah, maybe. We'll have to see. There are some things coming up in my personal life. Again, just moved out to Portland, Oregon. We got to find a place to settle down here. So we're going to be going into apartment hunting here pretty soon. Hopefully we'll find one with a 2-bedroom, and I can kind of set up a studio separate from, you know, the main apartment, and I can do these videos a little more consistently than I have been before. We'll have to see. But anyways, that's what's kind of going on in my personal life right now. So there's, again, there may be some periods where the channel is going to slow down a little bit, or maybe even go quiet for a little bit until we get our logistical situation, you know, nailed down. So, but you know, that's a separate topic. Would I recommend Star Wars: The Old Republic and coming back to it? Well, it depends how much you played it originally. If you played the original storylines and you've exhausted the content with the Eternal Empire, yes, there are always things to come back to. There are new operations, there are new flashpoints, but the amount of content is limited to what they release. And then you start repeating content, you start repeating raids, you start repeating things like that. At that point, it starts to get a little bit tired, but there's so much here that if you're coming in new, as I have, then it's just an enormous amount of content. And again, the same thing applies to Guild Wars, the same things apply to everything else. So that's the main thing with Star Wars: The Old Republic. I'm going to be playing it for a while. I definitely want to finish off some of these storylines. Again, I have the Jedi Sage here, which is part of the Jedi Counselor. I definitely like the Imperial Agent storyline. That looks really interesting. All the storylines actually look really interesting, and they definitely focus on particular aspects of the character that you're playing. So if you're playing the Republic Trooper, you have more of a military style type of story. If you're playing the Jedi Sage, then you're kind of the Yoda style type of character where you go into the mysteries of the Force and all this kind of philosophical type of stuff. I won't spoil it for you, but definitely take a chance to try it out. It's free to play. You can try the game completely free to play and see if you like it. And that was one of the things that really launched Star Wars: The Old Republic, because when it first launched, it was completely subscription based, and the subscriptions really went up early on, and then it just came crashing down. It was very disturbing to BioWare to see it just come crashing down so much, because the problem with the game was once you've exhausted the content, there was no reason to subscribe anymore. So a lot of people, they ran through the storylines of the characters, maybe not all of them, but the ones that they liked, and they're like, okay, well, what's next? Well, not a whole lot. So why stay subscribed? Then the game went free to play, and now it didn't cost anything to be in the game. You could deactivate your subscription, and then when content came around, you can fire it back up again and get the full benefits of being a subscriber. That's what I did here. You know, I'm on a subscription. Very cheap, $14 per month. Very good to, you know, cruise through all the new stuff, all the new content. And then once I get tired of it or I go to a different game, okay, then I shut it off but I still have access to the game through free to play. So that's a great advantage to Star Wars The Old Republic. It's a great advantage now to EVE Online. Frankly, every MMORPG on some level needs to have some sort of free to play mode that you don't lose your audience. You don't lose your audience because they're behind a paywall. Basically, it's not all or nothing now. You can still be part of the game. You may be severely restricted, or your growth may be very hampered, as we see with Star Wars The Old Republic, or restricted to certain types of ships that we see in EVE Online. But that's just honey in the pot. Now it's not all or nothing. Now it's up to the player to decide, okay, do they want everything? Okay, well then they should subscribe or pay in cartel coins or an EVE Online Plex or something like that. Then you get the full benefits of the game. But at least you have the choice up to the players. And that's why I think has really allowed the MMORPG genre to grow and continue to sustain itself, even while other genres such as MOBAs and now more recently Battle Royales. We'll see how many Battle Royales actually last out there. I think there's going to be a real culling of that genre coming in the next year or two. It's just one of those surges, you know, certain genres get very popular at certain times, and MMORPGs was definitely one of them, particularly in the mid to late 2000s. Definitely very popular at the time, although it was an enormous investment from the company to make these really finely crafted worlds. But as Blizzard pointed out with World of Warcraft, it could be extremely successful if it takes off. Well, as we found out, that could be an if, but they have learned how to operate inside this business model for the MMORPG, they being all the companies out there, your BioWares, your Blizzards, your CCPs, several others, your ArenaNets, you know, things like that. And I think it's still an incredible genre. I think it's still a very rich genre. I think that it's just great to be in a live, living world that's continually evolving and to just be a part of that. So we shall see. Anyways, I'll leave it here, guys. I'll post up the video. Let me know what you think. If you want to see more Star Wars content, I'll be sure to dive into it and I'll let you guys know. Okay? But again, I'm kind of feeling around, you know, seeing what content is popular and also just putting up videos of the games that I'm playing. It doesn't stay in one spot. It's not just EVE Online. It's not just Guild Wars. It's not da-da-da-da. Now it's also Star Wars. So stay tuned, folks. I'll have some more videos up soon. I hope you enjoy this one. Feel free to let me know in the comments of what you think. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and let me know. And you'll always be notified when I put a new video. Okay, take care, guys. I'll talk to you soon.